This is the top of the automotive food chain, the American full-size SUV. And for 2025, GMC is upping the ante yet again with a new interior, a slightly refreshed exterior, and larger wheels that truly make this SUV the king of all the luxury SUVs in the school pickup line. Come with me, we'll go inside and out and see why everyone still loves this guy and the bigger Yukon XL. Let's go for a drive. This generation Yukon was new for 2021, and now it's getting its first refresh for 2025. It is a mammoth-sized vehicle. That is the entire point of it. Luxury at this end means big size, big towing, and a whole beautiful-looking interior. This just in, you can order 24-inch wheels as factory standard on the Denali Ultimate. Lots of people were doing this for the last 2 decades, and now, as a factory wheel, they do look pretty magnificent. For 2025, that's the major change, along with new headlights. Slightly new grille designs, new bumper cutouts, slightly lower fascias, and out back, Denali is now the front and center piece on that tailgate as opposed to GMC. That's also a big change. Some slightly different variations on the taillights, which also play a nice animation, different exhaust cutouts than before. It's the same truck from the outside, but little tweaks here and there definitely elevate it. And if you're getting the new trim, the AT4 Ultimate, that's essentially combining Denali plus the AT4. And then if you want that on your Yukon XL, which is even longer, almost 1.5 feet longer, you can get that too. So there's plenty of choice when you're driving a Yukon. Might I suggest that if you're upgrading to 24-inch wheels, you should also upgrade the brakes. Unfortunately, General Motors considers braking performance an option on these full-size trucks that weigh 6,000 pounds and also are rated to tow 8,000 pounds. So this brake right here is going to get overheated in a hurry, unless you order the braking upgrade. Brembo's up front, 16 inches. That should really be standard. The Yukon Denali has 16-way power heated, cooled massaging seats. It also has a power sliding console, 10 inches. There's also a little bit more room here. There's a drawer here. There's another place up here for all sorts of things you can stash. It's roomy, and the materials are generally pretty good. When you order a Denali Ultimate, you're getting nearly Cadillac levels of luxury. Full grain leather, all this double cross stitching, real wood, it's laser etched, and the fit and finish are generally pretty good. And by general, because I use that word a lot, I mean not everything below the belt. On the door panels and all the lower plastics, they're very hard and in some ways pretty sharp. It's a reminder that while GMC is professional grade, they certainly don't put that attitude into all of the materials, and certainly not at this price. Finally, you can get powered, heated, massaging, cooled, and also speakers in the headrest on this second row. This one doesn't have that because it doesn't have the $5,000 or so executive package. You still have to order that on top of the Denali Ultimate, but it's pretty rad that you can even do that. It's a separate touchscreen here for those controls, HDMI ports, and of course, gobs of room. 25, 72, 123. There's nothing in the category that beats a Yukon unless you're getting a Yukon XL, which increases the max cargo capacity to 145 cubic feet. Really absolutely stellar by any measure. However, not all the seats are automatic, and at this price, they should be. The third row separately folds down, but in that second row, you have to manually do it. You can't necessarily do it that easily either, because after you fold it back, the seats aren't in the same exact fore and aft position. I think that's a major misstep, no matter if you're getting the Denali Ultimate or just the Elevation. There needs to be more attention to detail in that second row, just to make loading cargo that much easier. Choice is king at the top, and for that, you're getting 2 different V8s, a 5.3 and the famous 6.2. Lots of horsepower, no electrification or turbos required here, just good old-fashioned V8 American muscle. There's also a turbo diesel 6, and if you're choosing that one, you can basically go on any trim. The fuel efficiency is in the mid-20s. Very impressive versus this 4-wheel drive Denali Ultimate in the teens. If you like fuel efficiency and a lot of torque, that's the one to get. They're all available with either 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. Top trims like this Denali Ultimate only come with the 4-wheel drive option. 10-speed automatic transmissions. If you're getting 4-wheel drive, a low-range transfer case. And towing is pretty good. 8,000 pounds here, up to 8,400 max. For a 3-ton SUV, the Yukon has no trouble merging. It sounds good, And it's a big V8 that actually is a little bit more efficient than you might think at cruising speeds. GM has active cylinder deactivation. They've done that very well for a long time. And hopefully, since this is the 2025, if you're buying a Yukon Denali, you won't experience any of the engine failures that were happening from 2024 previously. So, buy the new one, folks. Highway miles are the Yukon's reason for being. It's pretty quiet in here, not the quietest in the segment, but it eats up the miles. And the seats, I will say, are more comfortable than previous generation Yukons and most other GM products. Still not the greatest for over $100,000, but they do massage. However, in terms of overall seat comfort, I'm actually more comfortable here than I've been in a long time in a GMC. These top trims also have Super Cruise, a very, very good hands-free system. GM keeps continuously improving that. They say they've got 750,000 miles of US roads and highways in the system, constantly being added, and it's very easy to use. What's great also about this 10-speed automatic transmission is that around 60 miles an hour, you're really just loafing along almost like a diesel engine, which you can also get on the Yukon Denali. But as a gas engine, you barely hear it. And there's so many gears and there's enough torque that it just loafs along. It's exactly the type of engine you want to put to work when you've got 8 people here plus 8,000 pounds of trailer behind you. But the brakes, they're another story. Steering accuracy is okay. I think previous generations actually did this a bit better. It feels more distant. And the ride quality actually could be much better. That may be. Well, let's say it is. The fact that these are 24-inch wheels and tires. Before, the Yukon Denali only went up to 22s only. And you can get 20s on other Yukons. To me, this feels like General Motors didn't recalibrate the air springs and the MagneRide dampers to truly offset the more brittle feel that thinner sidewall tires and bigger, heavier wheels bring to a suspension. It's still good, but even just over smooth roads, I feel a lot more vibration through the steering column, through the seat. There's more jitters throughout the chassis in this cabin. So I don't know, they look really cool. But in terms of overall ride quality, I would just stick with the 22s and just tell people that they're bigger than they are. But the overall feeling is that the Yukon Denali drives with authority. And even though it's wide, it's long, it's huge, on a back road it doesn't really feel so tremendous. Truly because the handling and the way the chassis control is engineered, it never rolls too much. So it never feels like you're out of control. And that is just a big reason why everyone loves driving these things all over the place. And they're so easy to drive. They're just not easy to park. Still not. It's actually incredible the amount of body control for something this large and tall. And the brake pedal feel generally feels good. But I always feel like I have to really, really press hard when I'm coming to a stop in any of these big GMCs. The brakes are really undersized, and with a trailer and 8 people, you're gonna want the brake upgrade. The Yukon gives up its smaller horizontal display for a big portrait, a 16.8-inch touchscreen. It's running Google. Legibility generally easy to use, except on the home screen, a lot of these icons look very similar. But once you've organized them, you'll know where everything is. This I especially like. You can see all this information and it's in large. If you want, you can add any of this to the driver display. You just hit that. So that's useful. There's also not too many controls. Other GMC models put too much information here, but this one doesn't. Head-up display, you got night vision, which is for the first time ever on a GMC. The seat controls though, once you tap down here, you gotta go here for the heating and cooling, and then you can't adjust the massage there. You actually have to do it from the controls on the seat, and then once you do this, It says use the controller on your seat to adjust it, even though I'm looking and trying to touch the screen. So there's some usability issues, but there's lots of apps, especially for trailering. Really very useful. You can also control the 2 screens in the back if you so choose. So generally, it works pretty well, but there's definitely some usability issues that keep it from being great. The 2025 GMC Yukon starts at $67,000. There are 5 trims. There's also more trims if you order a Yukon XL, and those are obviously way more expensive. But as tested, this Denali Ultimate, with night vision and a few dealer accessories, $109,000. The prices are starting to creep up, but there's nothing like the street presence of a big GMC. From the wheels to the paints to the way the interior looks and feels, for sheer size, cargo capacity, there's nothing beating it. Now, of course, if you're not going to use all of this capacity and capability, you're going to find some nicer interiors and actually better values in the Japanese and European luxury SUVs. But of course, they're smaller. So what SUV would you buy? Go to CarGurus.com, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.